this in SAP, you'll see like, 60,000 in SAP, but after John does his loads and everything's allocated out and you run it in BPC, it'll show like 10,000 sometimes. So
And
that's
how?
where I'll use BPC more during now that he's doing those early loads.
Sure, because then you can see. Did how long? At what timing did you say would you be like, oh shoot?
Probably like second day of close at the end of the day.
Okay.
I start to be like, especially if it's showing up on John's load. If it's showing 60,000 on John's load, I reach out to like, hey, what's going on? A lot of times you'll get a feel for it too. Like they'll let you know. They'll be like, hey, I'm doing my stuff. I'll get that reversed here. They're usually pretty cool
Okay.
about letting you know, like they did for me. They educated me a lot in the beginning, like. Because I'd reach out all the time, and they would just be like, "Hey, I don't do this till day 3, just so you know." And then I'm like,
Stop
"Okay,
bugging me.
cool." Right? Yeah, exactly.
No, but yeah.
Literally,
gotcha.
that's all of it. Like, hey, relax, let me do my job. Like, okay. So that'll happen. So let's look at this licensing since we got a big reversal in there. So let's see here. So first, we'll look at the big hits. Let's see. Okay, so nothing big hitting. There's a lot of Amazon Web Service. That's totally normal. It's like
Yeah, absolutely.
100 lines for that. So let's see what reversed out. So this is the Capata stuff that we had reclass.
Yep.
And then this accrual. So they over-accrued in January. So this is for us right now. It'll get eaten away because what has happened is that they've booked the reversal for the January accrual, but they haven't booked the February accrual yet in here. So when they book the February accrual, it'll probably be like 200,000, and it'll net to like 20,000 or something. Is how that works. So that's why again.
So are you putting it in the flash? The expected? Do you bump out that
No.
fix?
Not yet, no, because the fix possibly, but I mean it's like 50,000, so I would wait just to see because it's not always smooth. That's the one thing with it is that I don't have a historical one up, but it's not always smooth. So sometimes you'll see 371 here, and then maybe we'll have 300 here. We'll still be over. It's not uncommon to be over in licensing because I'll be totally transparent with you on the SG&A budget. It's way too small. Way too small.
Yep.
Yeah, it always has been. So every year, you'll get it probably come budget time at the end of the year. They'll be like, all right, we need to cut 5% off the top of SG&A. And you're like, how are we going to do that? And they say,
Not travel.
I don't know, cut 5% off and then we'll figure it out.
Okay.
So that's kind of how it's been. It's like this year we did a lot more of a deep dive on how we're going to actually cut it, to make, because it was a big cut this year. It was like 10% across the board, all categories.
Right.
So it was like, okay. So then we went through, kind of move things around, but travel is always, it's typically unfavorable a lot. It's getting better now because people are more, the message is getting out across the business more that we're in this cost-cutting environment. So things are getting a little better. But historically, we've always been over SG&A budget. When you look at it at the end of the year, it's typically our cutting ground. So when it's hey, we got to make more money, SG&A is the first place where they're let's just cut some SG&A and don't touch revenue. Let's see what we can get away with here. So don't be surprised when things are unfavorable every month. It's typically a bad story, but sometimes it's good. The past year it's been better. It's been a lot better this past year. So, but we'll see how 26 is. So with licensing, like I said, I would leave it alone right now just because they're going to post a bunch of stuff. So I would check this again next Monday.
Yeah.
Or even at the end of the week, you can see how this changes. But right now, I'd be like, it's still too early to tell. I personally, this if we look at the calendar, I probably don't start really looking at stuff till these 2 days. I'll
The
start
day, the day you're gone. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. So the day I think is maybe I did that on purpose.
I wonder where. See,
So, like, this is when it kind of picks up.
no, I
I'd
got
be
you.
like,
I
oh,
got
I
you.
get my feeling for it, and then here still just
Post.
kind of keeping an eye on it, and then like here's when I'm like kind of putting on alarm bells if stuff's still sitting around.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the flow of it. So let's keep going through here. Maintenance and repair. That was pretty low. This one is, so it's a little high right now. This thing does come up sometimes, maintenance and repair, depending on what's happening in the business. So right now, I don't know anything on my radar why it would be this high, so we'll take a look. Again, this is an account that they'll just like put stuff in and reverse out towards the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, these utilities, that's typically what it is. Let's see what these are. See, these are parts, so these are going to move out. So yeah, these got to move out, I think. Because yeah, let's see. Typically, yeah, I would expect all these repair parts to move out, and they should go to like product. So they're probably just in there right now. But yeah, keep an eye on this. You know, I'll keep an eye on it throughout the week. But hopefully that'll reverse out and just be like a few thousand. So that's another place that's like maintenance and repairs. One that's you'll see kind of inflate throughout the month, but then it'll come back down as accounting puts stuff to the right spot.
Yep.
Vehicles, we're right on the money there. This is fine. You know, we don't really forecast anything, but we're gonna get stuff because this is where like salespeople, especially in the east and in the central areas, they can drive a
Sure.
lot.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. So out here in the west, it's not that much, but for the east, they have some vehicles costs. Sometimes in the west too, you know, somebody's driving like from Vegas to LA or something if they want to do that. So let's see, insurance and taxes. This is just mid-month stuff going on here. I don't expect. It's usually around. That was a little inflated sometimes.
Oh,
you know, like that was big. But so like even this here. So you see, we were off 27,000. That's a crazy, you know, increase, you would say, or like variance to have the forecast. But it's not really something that we're digging into. Not unless the trend continues.
Right. If it's a blip
Yeah,
versus.
it's right. Yeah, like materiality of things. It's like, are we going to spend all that time on $27,000? You know, kind of like you got to pick, choose a battle sometimes. So
Okay.
we'll keep an eye out here. We'll see. Okay, so there was a property tax thing that happened, and then Egg Harbor. That's fine. That's this. So the Egg Harbor building, you'll see stuff on that every once in a while.
Yeah.
Little backstory. It burnt down a
Like,
few years ago, right? And then they had to rebuild it. So that's where like that maintenance and repair was really blowing up because we were getting a lot of maintenance for the building. You know, like electricians coming in, setting up the building and stuff. So that's really tampered down. Last year they got it all up and running, operational. So, but you still see some stuff come through. That's one of our occupancy charges we get hit with too down here, but we don't care about that, as you know.
right. Yep.
So insurance and taxes right now, hopefully it's just the reversal of the property tax from last month and we'll get a credit here or something, you know, so I can see that stay. But again, on the flash, I don't really call things out unless it's like going to be $100,000-$200,000 swing.
That's it.
Yeah. So, and then the other expenses, this is one that this is really like not until the end of the day here. So, or until the end of the load. So there's a couple interesting things in here that you'll see. So the external gain testing is 90% of what the other
Yeah.
expenses
This is new. This is a new, new for me.
Right. Okay. So I can give you a little background on this stuff. This stuff is like, it gets split between products or all across the business. So this is a pretty small portion what we see in SG&A, 500,000, and really it's not ever that much. It's more like 200,000, and then like 60K like other miscellaneous stuff. And this is like there's two vendors, GLI, BMN, and they do our game testing to make sure that everything's good to go to market, like on the bath and all of that. So
seems feasible. They were having that on the deck for, what was it, the recent deck that the Q4 the Q4 close.
what
What was that? So they had that slide so that was kind of the first time, but it's visible.
Yes, and like so we don't get much questions on it in SG&A. I'll tell you that because the forecast is it's there. You know, we got enough money usually beefed up in the forecast. We did cut it a lot this year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing, again, like when it comes to the SG&A budget being a little understated, is external game testing was a place where like we were having it pretty high, and then we were super favorable last year on it. So they were like, hey, let's just take that favorability
Sure.
and say we're going to get it next year. So we used to have like 200,000 in here, now it's like 180. But this number comes from another team. I mean, it's kind of it used to come from like Brennan and that group, because there's like a group that specifically kind of handles external game testing.
Yeah.
I think it's Kelly Hollingsworth now does it.
Yeah, that's who was on the call.
Perfect.
Is she
Yeah,
in?
so she's-
Yeah.
Yeah, so like when it comes to forecast time, I usually would reach out to her, or it was Brendan when I was doing it, and be like, hey, this is what we have, you know, in the forecast. What do you think? And kind of just, that's the business partner that you work with.
Gotcha.
To get that number, we don't really do much analysis on it because they're completely dedicated to that. So we rely on it.
Yeah.
So that, and the way it works throughout the month is it shows negative like this, and then it'll flip once accounting books it during close. They book that during close. So even the first day or second day of close, it still might be showing negative, but it'll flip. The other thing here is, so that's the external game testing piece, which is most of it. If there's ever any like big variance in other, that's my first place to look, is crack this open and see what we got here. And also, if you run it in BPC, you can run it base level, and external game testing is its own node. So you can just pull that node too if you want.
Right, that's a good point. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And then part seats and stands. So this is good. It's only at 8,000 now, but sometimes this will blow up towards close because accounting will stick it there while they're like working through close, like for the first 2 days, and then move it out on like the last day. So sometimes you'll see part seats and stands blow up to like, 100,000. It's like, whoa, that's not ours. That's the one that I was told like 3 months in a row. Hey, let me do my job.
Chill out. Yeah.
So,
Just trust me.
Yeah, exactly. Like, quit stressing me out. So, like that one, that's just one that, but if it ever lands, like, at the end of the month, if there's ever like $20,000 in there, that's when we gotta be like, okay, we gotta move this out, But that's pretty much it. You go down to other, and you'll find some interesting stuff in here. Sometimes it blows up. The biggest thing is going to be right here, this purchasing card expense.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it'll be on there, depending on the time of the month things were booked. So like if it was booked like this week, and they haven't had a chance to go in and like put it to an expense report or something, but it was a big one, like say they put $100,000 on a purchasing card for the F1 race in Vegas.
Right.
It's like sometimes it'll hit there, but then it'll get reversed out like this did, and then it'll get stuck up here to like marketing or other personnel or something. So
Gotcha.
yeah, you'll see it move like that sometimes. But that's pretty much it. And then there's occupancy, which you know that.
Right.
that's corporate. So so that's pretty much it. I really focus just on these DMCs here during the flash time, and that's kind of my exercise as I go through each one. Just kind of look at my forecast, kind of do like little variance analysis. And then the chargebacks, unfortunately, the way things work with the chargebacks is these will rarely ever tie to what you see in BPC. So like I'll run this for January, and we can just kind of get that. We'd see it. So sometimes it does, like usually it's like 1 or 2 chargebacks that one tie out. There's like 3 different areas, I think. Let's see here. There's tech deliveries, operating chargebacks, and forgot what the other one is. Let's see. And manufacturing charges. So what these are, basically, is here. I have a little notes on them, I think, and I'll show you. Let me see. Do I have a chargeback? No, I don't. Huh. I thought I had one. Let's see. Well, I can talk through it kind of. So the tech delivery ones, let's see. These ones are a little weird. This is like, I think this is, yeah, this is like software stuff that is allocated amongst the different business units.
Yeah.
The operating chargebacks is basically it's a system service chargebacks and field service, or no, field service for the manufacturing. Yeah, let's see. No, field service are in here somewhere.
Excuse me.
Yeah, the operating is like field service, and then these casino system chargebacks, which like Tony forecasts. We
Yeah.
don't really even forecast chargebacks. Like they're usually handled by the people charging it to us. And then manufacturing, this is done by Josh Levine and Mike Mante's team, and that's the bit of manufacturing stuff that gets allocated out to us, like the variances and stuff. So the chargebacks are kind of all over the place. Honestly, we don't really report them that much anymore. In the new way we're reporting things these past few months, like you can see, we were pretty unfavorable. We didn't even talk about them.
Right, that's true.
It didn't even come up. So sometimes when these get really out of whack, we got to look at them. But it's more of like a whole company effort. It's not just like, it won't just be you, because the chargebacks is another area of putting money into our place, right? So, or in this sense, taking it out.
Right.
And then the DNA is really like, as you can see here. So what did we show? 621 for chargebacks in SAP, and we got hit with 74,000
Yeah, that's crazy.
credit. So yeah, it's really hard to tie it back. That's what so you got to kind of dig through SAP, and then I've done it a bunch of times. It's a black hole, because you start looking at the profit center statement, and then you go into SAP. It's just all this like big accounting entries and all this stuff. So it's really more of like, if there's something out of whack, you got to go to like, the operating chargebacks. You go to your systems people, or the field service, which is really, we forecast that now, so it's really not field services the issue, it's the system stuff. And then the manufacturing charges, you can go to like Mike Mante's team, or like work with Louis. Louis really kind of in touch with the chargebacks, because they did a whole deep dive on them last year.
So Louis for all the chargebacks?
Pretty much, yeah. If there's ever an issue, I'd start with Louis, and then he'll put you in the right direction, because we've had to deal with him a bunch, and he knows all the players in the game. So
Okay.
I talk to him on those if there's any major issues. And then
Now for DNA. Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, DNA is kind of a unique one, because honestly, we're still figuring that one out as far as what to, I guess, how to report on it. Because so nowadays on the month index, we report everything at an EBITDA level. So we don't talk about depreciation ever.
Right. That's true.
So it's kind of just been like, hush, Honestly, we had a couple months last year where things were booked like incorrectly in depreciation, and like I ran it up to Louis and James and stuff, and it was like, hey, we're not reviewing depreciation right now. We'll deal with that when we get there.
Okay.
Type of thing. So,
Yeah, but you did your job.
Right, yeah. So I'll reach out to them, because I'll tell you what happened. I found it, because depreciation, you can see, is still wacky.
Right.
Right, we're showing 4.5 million versus 200,000, right?
Right.
So I use, for depreciation and DNA, I use BPC to do that analysis for sure. Just because, like, here, I'll show you. Something like I would do for DNA would be, I'd come down here, like if it was really off. Let's see, where is it? DNA, and then let's go. Yeah, that's good. Budget actual is to January. And let's see, I like to do it by profit center, because the accounts don't really help out much.
Yeah.
So I like to see what profit center it is, and then you just kind of have like, okay, nothing pulled in. I gotta log out.
Log out.
Then you just gotta kind of think about, you'll get the hang of it. It's gonna be tough the first month or two, with it. Hopefully, you're not going to have any issues with depreciation. But even then, if you do, just keep an ear out in the month-end meetings for like other things happening in the business. So the thing I'm talking about, the situation we had, I think it was like November, was we had this big deal, a big Wheel of Fortune like deal up in Illinois, and they were talking about it all the time in the month-end meeting. And then I looked at my SG&A stuff, and I noticed depreciation was like crazy. It was like $1 million. I was like, oh my gosh! And then I looked it up, and the cost center that it was associated with, it was Illinois Wheel of Fortune. And I was like, okay, everybody's been talking about Illinois Wheel of Fortune all month. Let me call Louis. I called Louis, and he's like, let me call James. And they go, oh, that's the depreciation that's supposed to be for service, but it's hitting SG&A.
Okay.
But it was like during a month end, and like time was going going crazy, so they were like, we can't talk to accounting right now. So we're just
which is
let
fine.
it wash.
Yeah, exactly. But
yeah, they're like, it's a one-time wash. It's gonna fall out. So like right here, you can see this is it. We're still getting hit with it.
Yeah.
That's why our depreciation is so unfavorable. See, it's Illinois VLT sales, and this is the Illinois WAF.
Yep.
So that's something to like, if it does come up, because right now Louis and James agreed like, hey, we'll just let it keep hitting SG&A for now. So if it does come up, somebody ever says like, hey, what's going on with the DNA?
Yep.
This is it. It's Illinois WAF needs to get switched over to service. So I don't know why they want to keep it in SG&A, but that's what Louis and James decided. So,
but that's helpful even just to know to go to Louis, just that one.
Yeah.
Especially
because he'll know on this. So yeah, if you get depreciation, ask him. He knows all about this situation. So yeah, and then back to the original document here, the Flash. Right now, I would just keep it flat. We went through everything. Yeah, there were some ins, there were some outs, but nothing like big enough to say like we have a risk to not hit forecast or an opportunity to beat it. It's still kind of like up in the air because the big things have yet to come in. Like external game testing's big. It's like a big dollar amount, and then the outside services to travel's big, and that's not going to get in until Andrew books his accruals, which he does on like the second day of close. Same with like outside services and stuff. So it's just kind of one of those situations for you where being an SG&A, you don't have too much prep work going into close. It's more of like that week of close is like when kind of all the work's done, and then those couple days after, it's like, okay, now I can like send out my reclasses for the next month. Now the times where it is a little bit more prep work up to close is going to be quarter end, because you're really SG&A is no big deal first month, second month, because we can always like, even if it's super unfavorable like it was here in January, 4.3 million. It's like it's just timing, because hopefully we should be favorable this month with those reclasses. Hopefully it comes in at 3 million, and then we're looking better, the 700K. Another thing to keep in mind, I just remembered, is I think either in February, no, it's going to be March at this point. Possibly March, maybe April. But one of those 2 months, they should get all the headcount reorganized for SG&A. And I think, because I've sent out all my stuff to HR. They have it all. I think they're still kind of like reorging a little bit after the whole sales announcement last week. So I don't know what's happening with that. But once everybody's put in their right buckets, we're probably going to they're going to want a payroll reclass.
Right.
So that's like one thing to keep on the radar.
Which is also, is there chargeback implications, things like that, or not really with SG&A? That's more.
That's a good question. I don't think so. There possibly could be because of the there's like 10 people moving to CIO,
right?
And they have all those big contracts. So that might happen, but accounting will deal with that because when the contract moves, the cost centers will get set up. You know,
Right.
the cost centers will get changed in the accounting documents, which should flow to like the chargeback side thing. Hopefully,
Hopefully.
not too sure. But the one thing that there may be, you know, if they're really coming after you, like, hey, we need to get back those dollars, it would be payroll, possibly incentive comp. You know, ask corporate, right? They handle that.
Sure.
Corporate does, but that's kind of give them the heads up, like, hey, we had 15 heads move out, so like, can we get some credit on that incentive comp? You know, got to reallocate that. Which they will do because they base it off headcount anyway. So once the headcount's in the system, it should flow through to their workbook
That's a
as
good
well.
point. Yep.
Right.
That makes sense.
Travel, that may be one. If they're like heavy travelers.
Oh, that's a good point. That's
Yep. So the people that I know who are moving, one of them, like David Flynn, they already moved him out. And they moved his travel out.
Mm-hmm.
So
it did follow him.
Yeah, it followed because I don't know if it's going to follow in the accounting system though. So it followed in Concur, but that's just because like David went from one cost center to a new cost center, so all his history is under his name associated to the new, right? So that's where it's like, okay, you know, that might be somewhere where in the future too, if they're like, hey, you know, we need more dollars reclassed out, reach out to like Andrew Whitney again on travel. Just give them the names. You'll have a list of names of people that moved out and be like, hey, give me the travel for this list of names year to date, you know, and then have them get that for you, put that reclass in, or even maybe have them handle the reclass because he does post a lot of entries. He posts them every month. So you could reach out to Andrew and say, hey, you know, we had these heads move out. Is there any way we could?
Who is that again?
Andrew Whitney. That's the guy.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, so he's great into the IC school. He's over here in Reno. So that would be the other place would be like travel. Other than that, I don't know. Like occupancy would be a bit of a pain in the ass. They'll do that later, you know, because the heads will flow through and stuff. But I think the first two things, like big wins, would be definitely the payroll, and then next would be travel if they're big travelers. You know, like getting David's moved out would be a help. He spent like over $100,000, I think, in January himself. So, like, yeah, they spend. You're about to see some guys spend big money.
Yeah, that's the opposite of ops and R&D.
Yeah, it's very interesting in SG&A because you're like, how do you even spend that much money? Sometimes I'm like, you'll see guys spend like $200,000 a year on a travel card, and you're like, how? I could. First off, how do you make $200,000 a year? Let alone spend it. Like, whoa! I couldn't even spend that money.
You'd have to put some forethought. You would definitely have to put a plan together. Others would have to be involved.
Yes.
And Vegas might have to be involved.
I think that's exactly what it is. It's just these guys get stuck at those big dinners because it's like the highest ranking employee at the dinner has to take the bill.
Oh,
so
right.
Yeah, so they go to G2E and they have like their sales team of 25 people. They rack up like a $50,000 bill, and it's like,
all right.
So yeah, you'll see those happen a couple times a year in October.
Yeah, and
you'll see a few big dinners, like 50,000 plus dinners come through. And it's not out of the ordinary. Those are things that we plan for. So
right, I was just gonna say it shouldn't.
Yep. So like when you start going through the forecasting process and like you're meeting with the various salespeople, that's like
easy question.
Yep. It's like, you know, hey, what dinner? You know, you have a big dinner planned at G2E. They'll say always.
Right.
You know, so you just kind of try to estimate how much they'll spend, but yeah, that's kind of the game there. So yeah, but is it? Yeah, what else? What else can I go through with you?
You know, let me digest that, and let me hit you back tomorrow, definitely. But you gave me so much. I appreciate that.
I was like, dang, that was a lot.
No. I mean, you got to figure it out at some point. But I appreciate that.
was gonna say in the beginning. I was like, oh, geez, man, maybe we should record it. You know, but the other thing I'll do for you,
Yes.
I don't know if it'll be super helpful, but I'll throw my notes in the SG&A
Oh,
folder.
that'd be great. The notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'll throw them in there. Yeah, because I take all my notes on OneNote, so I have, you know, some of them may be outdated and stuff. But
No,
I was
but
like,
I'll take them. Yeah,
cool. Yeah,
that sounds awesome.
yeah. I didn't want to just delete them, so.
Yeah. All right, man. Thank you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm sure.
Yeah, thank you, and yeah, good luck.